As it currently stands, the ending of Jurassic Park 3 features Alan Grant and the Kirby's rescuers to be United States Navymen and Marines sent in by Ellie Sattler after Grant's desperate phone call was made earlier in the film. This scene featured a trio of Pteranodons flying off of the island in search of new nesting grounds. However, there was actually an extended Pteranodon attack to occur once the rescuers were to arrive on the island, and the helicopters that were being used to lift our protagonists out of danger would be in the middle of trouble themselves once the creatures decided to attack. This deleted portion of the ending is detailed in the final shooting script for Jurassic Park 3, and its removal from the film was more than likely done for pacing reasons as well as to adapt the ever-changing production to fit its own unique tone, different from that of earlier drafts of the film. I've documented the shooting of Jurassic Park 3 in a previous video, and in that initial overview, I went over the various different scenarios that were to be used for the film, one of which included the mystery and horrors of a group of Pteranodons that had migrated off of Site B and started to kill people on the Costa Rican mainland. This plot of the film was eventually scrapped, and the film was retooled as a rescue mission story instead, but the flyers would still find their way into the movie in a couple of scenes. In the script, once Alan and the Kirbys make it to the beach, Grant comes across the boat scene at the beginning of the film. He tells Eric to go over to his family while the rescuing parties arrive to evacuate them from the island, but before that happens, Alan examines the destroyed vessel that started this entire ordeal. Upon searching the boat, he finds 3 distinct claw marks and immediately assesses the culprits as being Pteranodons. Once he gathers this knowledge, he rushes out of the boat and frantically yells at the helicopter pilots in an effort to warn them of the Pterosaur's presence in the tree line of the island. Almost immediately after Grant's cries to stay back are made, a Pteranodon would burst through the foliage and fly straight for the choppers. The Costa Rican pilot of this helicopter is terrified at the sight of this creature, and the others following it from the trees of the island. The pterosaurs were meant to break through the windows and grapple with the skids of the copter, and one overeager Pteranodon was supposed to stick its head up too high and get decapitated by the blades. While this is happening, the second helicopter was going to land on the island and pick up the Kirbys, with Grant running towards it trying to leave the island as well. The first chopper would then roll over and submit to the power of the Pteranodons and fall into the tree line in a massive fireball and resulting explosion. The pilot of the second chopper decides he's been there long enough and lifts off without Grant and starts to make his climb up and away from Isla Sorna, with Alan running up to the flying vessel, just barely missing his ticket off of Site B. Amanda would scream at the pilot not to leave Grant, all the while Paul would find an emergency release and throw a lever that dropped down a ladder made of cord and steel. Grant is able to grab hold of the ladder and hang on while the chopper climbs higher in the sky, but he is eventually joined by a Pteranodon who sees him as an easy meal. This animal would attempt to bite Alan Grant, but instead become entangled in the rungs of the ladder. With every flap of the creature's wings, the ladder would raise higher and higher, still with Grant holding onto it for dear life. Mr. Kirby gets the ladder mechanism to retract and hoists Dr. Grant up into the chopper along with a very angry Pteranodon coming right behind him. Once the paleontologist is safely inside, he frantically asks for something sharp to cut the line with. Eric Kirby hands Grant the velociraptor claw he'd found in the wilds of Sorna, and Alan uses it to cut one of the lines attaching the ladder to the helicopter. But now the flyer is up close and personal with the humans and begins to peck at the inside of the vessel. Paul Kirby would throw a wrench at the pterosaur, smacking it directly in the head and slowing it down, while Dr. Grant would try and cut away at the second cord. The trapped reptile won't let Grant get close to the line without a sharp bite though, and after some quick thinking, Alan would put his hand deliberately on the last line and wait for the Pteranodon to bite at him before pulling himself away at the last moment. This forces the Pteranodon to sever the line itself and causes the beast to free fall out of the helicopter while the humans make their escape. Just before it was to hit the water, the creature's wings would catch wind and the flyer would circle back from the ocean and make its way home to Sorna. This ending is extremely different to what we would see in the final film, and one I honestly wish they'd left in. It feels like Jurassic Park 3 was given an ending to directly emulate that of the original film, and some would say this was done to get the sour taste of the Lost World out of the mouths of those who disliked the second Jurassic Park adventure. I myself have been quite vocal about really admiring the second movie and how different and darker that film was to its predecessor, as well as how much new content and lore it brought to the franchise. It's ironic that in today's day and age, a majority of Jurassic Park fans find the first 2 films as untouchable works, while the third has become extremely derided when compared to the other entries, and some even feel this level of contempt towards Jurassic World as well. It's even more ironic that this Pteranodon attack scene was actually a holdover from Lost World's ending before the third act was moved to San Diego, and it would again be dropped in this film in favor of going with a peaceful ending reminiscent of Jurassic Park. Jurassic World would finally bring this Pteranodon helicopter sequence to the big screen 18 years after its initial rejection, and while it was very entertaining for me in the 4th movie, I would have loved to see it as the ending for JP3 instead. Original stories and new adventures are what always excite me about the Jurassic Park franchise, and it's the ability to do something truly thrilling and new that I think gives the series its high reputation in suspense and excitement. I'll always root for the scarier action-based sequences in these films. I want to thank each and every one of you for watching this video, and hope you enjoyed today's content. If you feel like I've deserved it, I would appreciate the like, and hope you consider subscribing so that you can see me again. I'll see you on the next video, and as always guys, take it easy.